It's been a little bit since I've done like a live video. I think it's been about 2 weeks. So the last live stream I did was about 2 weeks ago. I usually try to do a live video once every Saturday. So once a week, usually around 11 or 12. However, I did vlog week the week before last. I took last week off, and then I didn't do a live stream either of those weeks. So I'm kind of trying to get back into my YouTube grind, but there's also this part of me that feels like it's just been a lot. So I guess I normally do like a live get ready with me, but I don't feel like getting ready today, but I still want to like chat. So I'm thinking about possibly taking I don't want to say a break from YouTube, because to me a break is like I don't want to do it anymore, and it's totally not that at all. Or like a break, like I need a break, like I want a break. I don't know how to explain it. I think that I've been kind of dealing with a lot of life changes, and they're all mostly good, sort of, I guess. I don't know, this is very strange. I find it, okay, I'm just gonna be straight up, I find it really, when someone constantly discusses their problems in their life online, I just find it inauthentic, and I find that people are using it for clickbait, and I find that people like kind of want attention from it. Sometimes, not all people, because like sometimes that's what people build their channel off of, is like, for me, I deal with chronic pain, so like I know that maybe there's channels out there who they talk about that, and it's like a support group almost, I guess you could say. But for me, that's not my channel at all. Like, I do fashion and lifestyle videos, so for me to sit here and discuss my ailments just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But also, it is a reality of my life. So like, I do a lot of vlogs and stuff, and in my vlogs, it's my daily life, and it's been kind of a challenge to vlog and edit because I have been dealing with some severe pain, and physically in my body. And it's like my arms have really been bothering me a lot, which, if you think about it, I'm using my arms to edit and upload, obviously, and to vlog. And so between that and my full-time job, which is also computer based, my arms like feel like they're gonna fall off half the time. So I've kind of scaled back on my YouTube, I guess you could say. Maybe that would be the better way to put it. Like, it's not what I want to do at all, like, because I absolutely love YouTube. It is the best hobby, the best part of my life, really, as far as what I feel like I get out of it, how much I enjoy doing it. Like, I enjoy doing YouTube more than anything else I do, besides going shopping and going out to eat. So maybe it's my third favorite thing to do. Just kidding, they're all a tie. I love shopping, eating, and YouTube. So, half of my channel is like food and clothes and shopping. So, it all kind of fits together. So it's really kind of hard to not be able to do as much uploading. And I really want to, because like, obviously this is what I would love to do as a job someday, or just like maybe full time. I mean, I'm really happy at my job now. So for me to like quit that to do YouTube, I mean, that would probably be something that I'd really think about. And obviously that's even really far off of a thought. So it's hard to want to take a break, or to need to take a break. So I guess I'm just gonna try my best to keep getting videos up. It's, I'm going to the doctors and stuff like that, so I know that I'm trying to get answers for this whole chronic pain journey that I've been on for a while. And I guess like if people wanted to know more about that, I would talk about it. But I mean, I'm okay. It's not like I'm like dealing with like a life-threatening illness or anything. They've done all these tests, and so far almost everything's coming back normal, which is great. But then also it's like, why am I still feeling all of these ailments, So that's a little frustrating, that I haven't gotten an answer just yet. But I know that I will. So hopefully once that happens, I can kind of get back more into uploading as much as I want to. You guys, if I could, I would literally upload like 5 times a week. I love uploading videos. I think it's so fun. But when it takes something out of you physically to do that, like that that makes it like less fun, unfortunately. So I don't know. It's just it's gonna be a new balancing act for me, I guess. Like I need to find another way to balance it and find what works for me. Also, one thing I thought about, because like editing makes my arms hurt really bad, but I was like, well, maybe if I get a mouse instead of using my trackpad, because I don't have a mouse for my MacBook yet, like I know that that would probably make a huge difference. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm trying to keep my head up. It's for the most part. It's been challenging, obviously, but last night I was thinking about it, trying to fall asleep, and I'm like, I feel like I've gotten a couple of tests back, and almost all of them have come back normal. There's one that I have like a serious question about, and it could indicate that I have something more serious going on, not life threatening, just more serious. And once I get more answers, I guess I'll probably share what that actually is. So, um, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, for something like this, like, I feel like people oftentimes we lose our peace in situations like that. And it's really hard to, like, stay strong and everything. But I was thinking the other day, I'm like, or, well, last night when I found out the other day, I'm like, I really haven't lost my peace since this question has come up. Like, what does this test mean? Where could this take me in the future? And I think a lot of it too, I was just trying to figure out, like, I haven't, I'm not excited about it. Like, it's not like, oh, yes, I have this issue. Like, so exciting. Like, no, I'm like, oh my gosh, this sucks really bad. But at the same time, I haven't lost my peace. I don't have any anxiety over it whatsoever, about what this test could mean. There's so many different things that it could mean. It may even mean nothing. So I guess that's maybe why I haven't lost my peace. But even if it was like the most serious of seriousness, I still would not have anxiety over it. I've thought of like all the worst case scenarios, and all the worst case scenarios don't even scare me, because I really believe that God is putting these doctors in my life to like um, give me the answers I need to help me live a good quality life where my pain is managed and, maybe even completely healed. So, the way I believe, like, I believe God is a healer. And this one day I was sitting at church and I was like, praying about it. And I was like kind of almost crying, or I was crying, I think. And I was like, God, I don't understand. Like, all these people in my life are getting healings, which is amazing because that's what I had been praying for people around me who needed literally miracles. And I was seeing them happen for these people left and right. And it's just so amazing how God is such a miracle worker and such a healer. And it's amazing when you pray for it and then you see it happen. Like, it really stretches your faith to even ask for that. And then when you see it happen, it's like, oh my God, you're so good. So I was like, but why hasn't it happened for me? Like, I'm dealing with something much less serious than these people who I see getting miracles around me. And, the Holy Spirit literally said to me, Elizabeth, you have not gone to the doctor once. I have been trying to tell you to go to the doctor and get answers for literally years, you guys. I've been dealing with this since 2016, the end of 2016. And I went to the doctor like once, and it was a sports medicine doctor, which I don't believe is the type of doctor that I needed to be seeing for the type of pain that I deal with. And God was like, Elizabeth, I sometimes heal people, or a lot of times I heal people through doctors, and you haven't been to one, and I've been telling you to go. And I was just like, okay, God, I'll go. Like, I think a part of me was afraid because, the reason why I was so afraid was because for something like what I deal with, a lot of times doctors want to do like an MRI. And an MRI scared the absolute, excuse my language, but hell out of me. It scared the hell out of me to do an MRI. Like, I was like, I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to the doctor. And then the pain, it sort of started to get worse, I guess you could say, or more chronic maybe. Like, my flare-ups were more frequent because like I'll be fine for days and days, and then all of a sudden one morning or at one point during the day, it doesn't even matter sometimes, my body will start screaming in pain, like my arms and legs. So, that started happening more frequently, and the flare-ups were happening more frequently, and me being fine was like, the gaps of me being okay were shorter and shorter to like when I would get a flare-up. So then I was like, okay, it's time. Like, if I have to do an MRI, I will do an MRI. So, and I knew that God would help me through that. And I'll tell you, I did have to do an MRI. I did one a few weeks ago, and I was so afraid because it was, it's a tight space and it's not really fun to be stuck into that and you can't move at all. And to be shoved into like a literal human tube is not what I consider relaxing or a good time. When I want to relax, I want to go in my bed and watch Netflix. You don't get to do that when you're shoved into a human tube. So anyway, this isn't what I wanted to say in this live stream, but I don't know, maybe someone needs to hear it. I have no idea. So anyway, I'm in this MRI and I'm laying there and I'm like, had no anxiety at all. I had no anxiety the day of the test. Like, leading up to it, I was pretty nervous, like a few days beforehand. I was really nervous and I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I got to the doctor, to the Stat Care hospital where I go for a lot of my testing so far. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I had no anxiety at all. And I thought I would. Like, I thought I'd be sick to my stomach or even talk myself out of it, because sometimes that's the way my personality is. But I just had this overwhelming peace. It was really amazing. And it's a peace that I haven't experienced or like in a long time, because God gives us peace. Like, that's a gift that he gives us, but we also, it's kind of like, you can get a gift on Christmas or your birthday or any holiday or whatever. Somebody could give you a gift and it's your job to open it and like see what it is and use it and apply it to your life, whatever the gift might be. And that's kind of how I look at the gifts that God gives us, which one of them is peace. So if I just let that gift sit there unopened, then that's really on me to not experience the fullness that gift could give me. So when I finally was like, okay, God said you need to go to the doctor. I heal a lot of humans through doctors, a lot of people. I was like, okay, well, I had this this immediate sense of peace come over me where I was like, I'm not going to be afraid of an MRI or what a test result might be, or just the hassle. It's a hassle to like see specialists and to pay for doctor bills and to figure out insurance and go to the pharmacy and pick up your prescriptions, all these things. I was just like, didn't want to deal with it. And at some point, I was like, I've got to deal with this or else my quality of life is just going to continue to decline. So bringing it back to my current situation, which is still trying to figure it out. And it's very annoying a lot of the time to try to figure this out and to like, then you got to wait for your doctor because specialists take a while sometimes. So if you got to wait for these appointments, and I've had a couple doctors cancel on me, and that's really frustrating. So, I haven't gotten any answers really yet, besides like the ones that came back, tests that came back normal, which is great. I don't want to have like anything super bad wrong with me, but so the point is I've had a lot of peace, which is really great because like I said, I didn't think that I would have that when I started this journey. But I've really allowed God to just take over and give me the peace that I need. However, I'm still dealing with all of these things. And so YouTube has kind of been a challenge as of late. Like, it wasn't always that way. Like, in fact, it's never been that way where my pain affected even me being on YouTube or just like going to work every day. And those two things have been a bit hard lately. And I'm okay. Like I said, it's not like I'm in the hospital or needing to go to the hospital or anything. And I'm so thankful for that because it could be a lot worse. But I'm very uncomfortable. And then, I'm like, okay, all I have to do is back off of YouTube a little bit. And it's not like I'm quitting or anything, but it's like maybe I do need to just like upload once a week and not do vlog week. I'm like rolling all these things around and gonna see what works. And it sucks because, like I said, I really love YouTube. And it distracts me from all of this stuff going on. And I do believe that God has given me YouTube and wants me to be on YouTube. So it's like, how can I do what I'm supposed to do on all aspects? Like, he wants me to go to the doctor. He wants me to do YouTube. But I need to rest too. So it's like my human brain has to kind of stop for a second because my brain just loves to think. Overthink. Like, it's ridiculous. It's a problem. And I've been practicing allowing God's peace to overtake this, which is crazy. And God's peace has really just been like, it's okay. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to rest. Your subscribers will understand. If you don't, I don't believe really it could, but like, I don't think my channel is going to blow up tomorrow or maybe even ever. So it's like, why would I sacrifice my daily health to do something like to put pressure on myself? I'm supposed to enjoy YouTube, not feel pressure, not feel stress. Anybody that does this as a hobby or even a job, because if you're doing it as your job, you probably really love it. You started because you loved doing it. And so I love YouTube, and I'm not going to put pressure on myself over something I love. Like, that just doesn't even make any sense. So, yes, I'm thinking of taking a short break. Maybe even, like, to me, a break means like uploading only once a week instead of 2 to 3 times a week. So, I don't know. It's just, it's going to be like a day-by-day thing, I guess. Like, I'm still going to try to get videos up once a week, maybe twice if I can, and I never know what each day is going to look like, and I still don't really know what causes me to flare up, if you will. That's the only way I know how to describe it, because sometimes I'll be fine, and then, like, then I'll have days in a row where I'm not, and I'll just be, like, in bed in pain, not doing anything. So I guess I just have to take it day by day. I don't know. It's just now getting to the point where it's affecting YouTube. So I'm hoping that I'll get some answers before it really starts to affect it to the point where I can't upload at all. But I was able to edit a video last night, and I'm going to get it up. It's for a brand, so I have to wait for the brand to approve the portion of the video that I included them in. But as soon as that happens, I plan to upload it, and I'm hoping to get another one up this week sometime. I feel pretty good today, so on the good days is when I do YouTube things, and thankfully today's a good day, and it's actually really nice out. So I feel like the sunshine helps a lot too, just boosts your mood first of all, and then I feel like when it's a little warmer out, I don't have that many issues. I will say that that's probably one trigger, is like the cold. So when it's warmer out, that makes me feel better physically and mentally. So I guess maybe if you don't see as many uploads from me, that would be why. Physical health is very important. You got to take care of yourself, and also it's important to make sure you're enjoying what you love doing. And so if what you're doing that you love is stressing you out, you need to take a look at something. Thank you so much, Jesse. I appreciate that. I could really use the prayers, all the prayers I can get, I would love to have, and I really trust God with this situation, and it's been amazing to see just the peace alone that he's given me. And like I said, it's not like I've been diagnosed with cancer or something, which even then, like I said, I still don't think that I would really have anxiety, because I just know that God is going to get me through it, So I want that to be a testimony to anybody that's like dealing with something and maybe they have anxiety about it, be it your physical health or you just have anxiety in general and you just don't know why. Like, I don't know how I started feeling peace, but I think I just kind of made this decision that I was going to trust God, and that I wasn't going to allow my situation or my anxiety to take over the peace that God has given me, the gift of peace. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just been interesting. It's been a very interesting season of life, and then I'm kind of transitioning at work a little bit, and so that's different. And in fact, I have to work on my notes because I've been taking notes on some stuff at work, and it's a real hot mess right now. Like, it's all over the place because we were really busy this week at work, so I didn't really have time to organize them, but I'm really a big note taker. You have to take notes if you want to work where I work, because it's a lot to remember. And the only way I really remember things very well is if I write it down and then can refer back to it later on. So that's another reason I feel like I need to like back off of YouTube just a little bit for a little while. And whenever I hear somebody say, I think the other reason why I don't want to like announce that I'm taking a break is because a lot of times people are just so dramatic about it, and it's like, it's not that serious. If you need a couple of weeks off, then just take it. Like, it's fine. Like, I don't understand. And then they'll come back and they'll be like, where I've been, and it's this like really dramatic video about whatever it is, and like, it's like, I just don't watch videos like that. I don't want to be that person, because I just don't think that's useful to me, and I don't feel like it's useful to the subscribers that I have on my channel, or that I would have. So for me to be like, I'm taking a break and like make this big deal about it. I guess I'm more so saying it because sometimes if I don't upload for a couple weeks, I'll have people ask me if I'm doing okay, which I am so appreciative of. But you know, I don't, I don't want to worry anybody, so that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. But also, I don't want to be like, oh my gosh, you know, this big horrible situation and this big dramatic thing. Like that's just not me. So yeah, there's just a lot of life things going on that unfortunately, and it's very unfortunate to me that YouTube is something I've just got to scale back a little bit because I'm not a scale back type of person. I like to go, 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 do all day, every day, never stop, never rest. That's just the way I am. I don't know, but I've had to really just be like, okay, it's all right. It's okay to stay home. You're good. Oh, my dad's home. I think it's my dad. You guys want to meet my dad?
More packages.
I'm filming, yeah. You can say hi.
Oh, nice.
He said hi.
Packages at the front door.
Oh, it's probably Mom's. I don't think I've ordered anything.
Let's see what it is.
What's in that big bag anyway?
Oh, coffee and,
No, I meant your gym bag. Why is it so
Oh.
big?
oh, there's clothes in there. Jeans. Some books.
Books?
Oh, Bible and then.
Oh, your bag. I thought you meant the package.
No.
I don't think I ordered anything. Mom's been ordering a lot of stuff lately.
Yeah, it's in my name. That other thing was in my name. It was.
Well, it might be because it was your card that she used.
Yeah, she has the card number.
Yeah, that's probably why.
It on. Lane Bryant, so that's
Oh, she probably ordered clothes.
close to her.
Lane Bryant. Yeah. Are you gonna be up here for a while?
Yeah, I gotta put this stuff away and then. Why you want a video?
Well, yeah, I just.
Oh, I can go outside.
Well, just for like 10 more minutes, maybe. I mean, you don't have to like hide. Mom would hide.
Funky monkey.
Is this Funky Monkey on it?
Here's the address. Shepherdsville, Kentucky.
Oh.
Can't see very well. Can't be quiet.
I swear, if I got more mail,
Hmm?
if I got more mail, I'm gonna be so annoyed.
There is.
People have been sending me, look at all this mail I have. This is just from this week. Like, what is this? I mean, some of it's like insurance stuff from my doctors, but still, it's like, oh my gosh.
MasterCard, but it's
And then I
not
keep getting all these credit card people. I'm like, I don't want one.
No,
I don't need one.
something else. Chief Executive Officer.
Probably another
You got that.
credit card thing. Partners in Health. I don't know. Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, it's somebody asking for money for Haiti. I don't even know how they got my address. Well, my mail is piling up. I know, my mom, she's been ordering so much stuff from Amazon recently, like within the last few weeks. I can go upstairs. I'm gonna do this because my mom will get upset if I put certain parts of the house on if it's not clean. Stay on. I'm not going anywhere. This is weird. I've never had a live stream like this before. Okay, we're in my room now. Cover your ears. I'm about to wipe off my camera and that will make the microphone make noise, I think. Okay. Closet door's always open, like almost every single day. I never close it, even though I know it ticks me off. Okay. Well, that was an unexpected interruption. However, Yeah, I do live in a house with 4 people, including myself, so, you know, sometimes that happens, I guess. But anyway, okay. So enough about like my pain situation. I think it's gonna be okay. That's the moral of the story. I'm just probably gonna have to take more breaks than I want to, which is like more so something that I'm upset about than I think anybody else will be because I don't want to. But anyway, so dating. Let's talk about dating. I love to talk about dating. It's so fun. Well, talking about dating is fun. Sometimes dating is not fun indeed. So I have dated a lot of guys that are not good for me, have not been good for me, knew they weren't good for me. Still, like, just, you gotta cut it off. You gotta know when to cut it off. And I knew when to cut it off, but I chose not to. So I kind of wanted to discuss, like, you know, because I used to be a big believer in dating around, and I would get so pissed off when people would be like, you shouldn't date, you shouldn't date, you shouldn't date. And I was like, screw that. Like, I'm gonna go on dates and I'm gonna meet people and I'm gonna like have a good time and whatever. And like that's fine, whatever. I know a lot of people still do that. I know that it's, you know, online dating is really the best way to date right now, still with everything going on, this pandemic, crazy stuff. And so, excuse me, I've done a lot of online dating, and I'm in a, as I said earlier, this is just a very strange season of life that I'm in where I feel like this is like a growth season for me almost, where I've chosen to mature in certain areas in the last few months, and dating is definitely one of them where it's like God was dealing with me like, you've got to stop this madness, because if you don't, you're going to miss the gift that I have for you of the person that you're supposed to be with. And I'm like whatever, that's just my past talking, where I would hear pastors and stuff say that dating was bad or that we shouldn't date and we should focus on God, which is all true. But, you know, I feel like there's got to be a happy medium from what I was doing versus what I've been told to do as far as dating goes. And nobody ever really explained in great detail the why dating can be bad. Like, no one has ever sat down and talked about the pros and cons of dating around, just like basically dating just to date. And I've always wanted to get married. Like, I always dated with the intent to get married. And so I think that that's why dating around was harmful for me personally. And like pastors would always talk about how you shouldn't date just to date. You should date with the intent to marry. And like I said, I feel like there's got to be some kind of happy medium, because you can't know if you're going to marry a person unless you go on a date with them, like, or if you're friends with them first. And there's got to be like a conversation about that. And it's okay to like have a conversation with someone about dating, like, that you like, and be like, hey, you know, I could possibly see this happening. Like, what do you think? You gotta, and then if they're not on the same page, that's when you need to walk away and not date them. Like, if you're looking for something serious and they are not, and they tell you that, then you've got to remove yourself from that situation, because you're going to get hurt. And I think that's the mistake that I would make, would be like, guys either weren't into my faith, or even if they were, whether they were or not, they would, I think I've said this before, they would not want to date. And it's like, I had to remove myself from that situation, or like I wouldn't, and then I'd get hurt because I would just develop stronger and stronger feelings for that person. And, you know, they wouldn't basically return the feeling. Or if they did, they wouldn't act on it, which would make me even more upset. Because it's kind of like the whole thinking about what this could be rather than what it actually is. And I would always dream of what it could be, and I loved the idea of that, and I liked that person in that role. And, you know, sometimes that just wasn't my reality, or pretty much every time. So I guess maybe I should put it in perspective a little bit. So like I go on a date, let's say I go on a date and he's like really great and everything, I really like him. And, you know, I think it's important to really know what you want. And like maybe I didn't know what I wanted, or I did, I just wasn't willing to wait for it. Like, I think that's what it was for me. And no one ever, other than my mom, really explained to me the importance of waiting and why it's so important. And it's because like I'm the type of person that if I like you, there's really no stopping that feeling. There's no stopping my heart, and I'm going to like you more and more and more. So if you aren't with me in that, or at least like kind of thinking about it, then I'm probably gonna have to cut it off. At least I have finally like decided that that's how I'm going to handle dating from here on out. So I kind of was like thinking about this earlier this week, and I'm like, is dating around harmful? And I think it is. I do. And gosh, I hate it. I hate saying that. I do, because I would get so mad when people would say, don't date just to date. And I'd be like, how am I supposed to know if this person's for me if I don't go on a date with them? And I still stand by that. But the problem is, you have to be on the same page with that person probably before you even go on a date with them. So if they are Buddhist and you're Christian or whatever, I don't know, just that's because I'm a Christian, and I'm not shading anybody by saying this, but by me being a Christian and them being Buddhist, and my values are so important to me, and I want to raise my family, my future children in that religion, in that belief. Someone who's Buddhist, it's going to confuse our kids in the future. Like, I guess maybe it won't affect our relationship too much, but, I want to get married and have kids one day. And I want my partner to come to church with me and read the Bible with me and pray with me and serve with me in the church and volunteer in the church with me. So if he's Buddhist and doesn't even like relate to what I believe in and believe in the God that I believe in and that I serve, that relationship isn't going to work out for what I want. Like it could be a good relationship, but it's not going to be what I want. Like, you know what I mean? So I think knowing what you want and being on the same page with that person, like, then maybe going on a date is a good idea. But for me to go on a date with somebody that does not believe the same way as me, I've realized that is so harmful, and I did it for so long, and like, I know it's harmful. Like, I knew it was harmful, and I knew I shouldn't do it, but I did it anyway. And I was like, I got to stop. Like, over the last few months, I was like, I have got to stop this. This is not good. And I've got to be okay with being single. And like, I don't think that I ever really was okay with being single. And I'm not saying I'm never going to go on a date again, or that I'll never check my Bumble or whatever. I probably won't, but I think you have to date sometimes to figure out what you want, what you don't. However, you should only date guys that don't have deal breakers from the get-go. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's a really great point. I think sometimes you do have to date around to know, but the thing for me that like why that, like, I always knew what I wanted, like, and I tried to sway from that. So I was like, well, maybe I should try this, maybe I should try this, which I guess is the same thing that you're saying, but deep down that value never changed for me, which was to find a Christian man who wants to read the Bible with me, pray with me, go to church with me, serve with me, all of that. And which is funny because I wasn't even in church for part of this season of life where I wanted that. Like, I wasn't even being what I was looking for. That's a whole nother story. But it's weird because like I don't know how to put it. And yeah, but yes, I agree with that point as well. Coming back to, you said something about deal breakers. Like, you have to know what the deal breakers are for you, and you have to stick to that. Like, for me, that's what I didn't want to do, was stick to it. And I'd be like, okay, well, maybe they'll change their mind about coming to church with me, for example, or maybe they will decide they want a relationship. Maybe they'll decide they want something serious. Maybe we'll end up in a good, solid relationship one day. And it's like, no, that's not going to work for me. If you aren't looking for a solid relationship and you aren't on the same page as me with how I believe, then that's a deal breaker for me personally. And it doesn't mean that they're bad guys or that it would be a disaster or of a relationship or super toxic, but I also don't think that either party would be fully happy. Specifically myself, just because that's something I want so much. And I was not like fully honest with myself all the time. Like, I would be, when I finally had enough of a specific guy, not him like as a person, but just the relationship in general. And and I would like finally have enough and just be like, okay, I'm gonna walk away now. And then I'd be like, okay, I need to stick to what I want. But then I'd fall back into that same routine of like, okay, well, I'll just see if maybe he decides to change or whatever. I don't know. Why would you try to change somebody? That's just not cool. Like, that's not gonna work. They have to kind of like want it for themselves. Like, they have to make that decision for themselves. Like, I can influence them in a sense where I live my life before them and they can see what I have and decide if that's what they want, but I can't really say, hey, do you think this would ever change for you, or wait for it to change, because most likely that's not going to happen. And I don't know, I guess I've just done a lot of soul searching with dating around, and like I just am so solid in what I want, and I always have been. So for me to go on dates with, and what I'm looking for, I realize is a tall order. It's not really the most common type of relationship these days, unfortunately, that I want. And yeah, and settling was I was so bad. I was so bad about that. It's so stupid. Like, why would I settle? And I don't think anybody should settle. And like, I guess that's kind of what I want to get across, is like learning. I want people to learn from my mistakes, which were to basically settle. And I never wanted to admit that that's what I was doing, was settling. And, you know, there were also times where a guy would believe the same way as me, and he would say he wanted what I wanted, but he wouldn't act on that. And he would act, you know, actions do speak louder than words, to sound super cliche, like they do. And yes, thank you. God will provide. That's so good. He will, and he will provide the right person at the right time. And you know, my friend and I, we were hanging out the other night, and I was talking about this one place that I want to travel to really bad. And he's like, he made a joke. It was me and him and then our other friend. He's like, that's because there's a guy there you want to see. And he was just joking. He wasn't like throwing shade or anything. And I'm like, but also like at one point that would have totally been true, because we've been friends for a long time. So at one point that would have totally been true, as of just like a few months ago. And I was like, it's funny that I brought this specific place that I want to travel to up, and I don't want to say it in case the person I'm talking about watches. I don't want to offend anybody, because it's not anything to do with him personally. Just, it's, you know, I've grown. So we'll get to that though. So before I mentioned it, the night before, I was laying in bed thinking about how I want to travel there. And I'm like, you know, if I ever did travel to this place, I would not get a hold of him and tell him that I'm coming and try to arrange a time for us to see each other. Not because I am avoiding him or anything. It's just like, what would the point be? Because I already know that he doesn't want what I want. And so why would I even put either of us through that, where our feelings and hearts could possibly be on the line? You know, there's an attraction there too, which is also not good when it's good, but if you don't want the same thing, there's really no reason to like arrange a meeting like that. And so, and I was thinking, I'm like, yeah, you know, I wouldn't hit him up at all, and I would just go and visit just because that's where I want to visit, nothing to do with him at all. And so I was telling them, my friends, this, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I really want to travel to that place. And my friend was like, that's because there's a man there you want to see. And I was like, well, actually, you know, it's funny you bring that up, because just last night I was thinking how if I were to ever travel there, I would not hit him up. I would not text him and tell him I'm coming. I wouldn't DM him. I wouldn't even, nothing. Like, and like, I wouldn't want to offend him or anything. I mean, I might just be polite, be like, hey, you know, I don't know. No, I wouldn't even do that. No, I wouldn't. I don't really care about his feelings. If he gets his feelings hurt, you know, sorry. Like, it's not anything to do with you. It's just, I've grown and I know what I want, and I'm not changing my mind on that anymore, ever again. And I really mean that. And so I told him that. I told my friend that. I'm like, you know, I wouldn't hit him up. I'm not interested in that. That's not me anymore. And he's like, and he could, like, I knew he believed me because of the way I said it. And he was like, you've really grown a lot. And I'm like, I know I have. He's like, that's really good. I'm really happy for you about that. I'm like, me too. We've turned over a new leaf. Like, is that the saying? I don't know. I don't know sayings or movies. Anytime you quote a movie or you say a saying, I'm not going to know what that means or ever heard of it, probably. And so, that's kind of, I guess, to put it in perspective, like, the best way for me to explain what I mean is to give real life examples where I'm at currently. And so, but at one time, I would have specifically traveled there with the intent to see him, not to see the place where he lives. And yeah, I just would have been like, oh, I'm going to go here and it's just going to be so great because I'll get to see him too. But like lie to myself that I was choosing that place because I truly wanted to travel there when that wouldn't be my intent. My intent would be to see him and to try to rekindle something. And I'm not interested in that anymore. Like, I'm not interested in rekindling anything with a past fling or relationship. I'm interested in moving forward and finding what I want and being single until that happens. So for me, dating around probably isn't productive anymore. And also, this year, I've done a little bit of dating around in 2021, and I was thinking how every time I get into these, like, when I'm like actively on an online dating app, for example, and I'm using it every day and talking to all these dudes or whatever, messaging these dudes, and then we get each other's numbers, and then some of us go on dates, one or two of them, you know, and I would realize like, oh, this is taking away from like YouTube. Like I'm distracted and I can't focus on, I don't have enough time to do both. And it's not like I don't want a relationship or that I wouldn't put anything towards that. Like I would give my relationship everything. I would drop anything for my future relationship. You know, say I'm in a relationship or I'm married, that would be my number one priority. But to do that with someone who isn't on the same page is a complete and utter waste of time. Like, and it's like, I just wish that somebody would have said it different because all everybody ever told me was don't date. And they never really explained why. And they never sat down with me personally and were like, you know, this is where you tell me you want to go in life. Other than my mom, my mom and I would frequently discuss this and I never wanted to listen to her. I don't know why. She's really smart and wise, actually. Don't tell her I said that. Oh gosh, her head's already big enough. I'm just kidding. But yes, so I wish that somebody like a church leader or somebody would have sat down and said, this is why you shouldn't do this because this is what you're telling me you want, which is someone who's in church and serving and all the stuff I've already said. And here's the guy you're about to go out with and what he actually is saying he is. And he's not, like, these two things don't match. It's like my nails. They don't match and they look like crap. Like, you're here and he's like off over here. Like, it's not gonna work. Don't even bother going on a date with him. And I wish that someone would have like, I don't know, I guess like my mom did and I should have listened to her. And anybody that's telling you that, like whether it's your mom or your brother, sister, you know, your best friend, whoever it is, your cousin, I don't know, listen to them because they know what they're saying. They're the outsider looking in. Their emotions aren't involved the way yours are. And their emotions aren't going to get hurt. They don't want to see you get hurt. And so, like, that's what I never wanted to listen to until this year, literally, like 2021. I've been dating since I was 18, and I'm 25. So 6.5, 7 years of just total madness in my relationship, my romantic life, complete havoc, you know, just not what God wants for me at all. And, I mean, I met some good guys. I'm not saying, like, I don't want to throw shade at this guy, but for what I want, totally not good. I guess there were some pretty bad dudes as well, which that's another story. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. I do think dating for me personally is harmful. Dating around, like just going on a date just to meet a guy, like it's not a good idea. I'm probably going to end up really liking him, especially if I'm attracted to him. I'm probably going to end up confused and just like hoping they'll change and just feeling all of this like toxicity in my heart and like all this anxiety. And yeah, ask God for what you want. You know, that's a good statement because I have asked God what I want or what he wants for me, and it's been something he's always told me. Like I'll ask him before, you know, if I'm talking to a guy, I'd be like, is he the guy? He would always tell me no, and I would still continue to date him, to text him, talk to him, get to know him, fall for him. And then I'd get into maybe even a full-blown relationship with this person, and I would see even more of why it was wrong. And then I'd finally have enough and be like, okay, I'm going to end this. And, then you got to deal with the whole breakup emotion of it all. And I went through that so many times and just like caused myself torture. And so, I don't know. I feel like I'm on the right path now, and I've been on the right path before, but I've never been so solid and so dedicated to staying on it. I can't remember the last time I checked my Bumble, which hasn't really been that long, but for me, it's a long time, because I would take breaks, but it would only be like a few weeks at a time, and I just have absolutely no interest in looking at it. And I know that there's probably good guys on there, but I've only met like 2 out of the however many I've been out with from online websites. And I'm just, I'm on the right path, and I don't want to settle anymore. I know what God wants for me. And I think, like, once you know that, you have to, it's up to you to stick to that. Like, God gives us all a free will. And so I've just felt a lot better since I haven't been, like, actively dating to the point where it's like a weekly thing where I'm going on weekly dates with either the same guy or someone else. And I don't think there's really anything wrong with that. I really don't. Like, that's what's weird, is because, like, I don't think it's wrong. It's hard to explain, I guess. Like, I've been trying to put it into words the whole time of, like, I don't think it's I don't think it's harmful in general, but I think it is for someone like me. And maybe, like you said earlier, somebody said earlier, like, sometimes you have to date around and know what you want. So if you don't know what you want, then maybe it is harmful, or it is a good idea, sorry. But as soon as you figure it out, you've got to cut it off. You've got to just really be intentional about finding out if the person you're talking to wants the same thing. And sometimes that means that you have to start off as friends, because once you involve like the physical aspect of it, that takes it to a whole new level of like, it could be a bit distracting, or it is full-blown distraction to like be physical with somebody when you don't really know for sure if you're on the same page or not. And it affects your emotions and your attachment to them. And then if you have to decide to go separate ways, the fact that you are physical, especially as a woman, because we're much more emotional than men, you have to like heal from that emotional hurt of because you were physical with that person. And I'm not even talking about like having sex with that person, because like that makes it even more difficult, but like even just kissing them and like hugging them and holding hands and just being just physical with them on a just first base level it can be really hard to get back to home plate. That's not what I meant, never mind, just forget that analogy. But anyway, a first base, you're on first base, that can even be hard to overcome when you break up with someone. So I think it's good to like be really upfront with the person and say, hey, this is what I want. And I've told guys that recently, been like, this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for. And they'll either say like, so far, they'll either say, that's it, that sounds like an ultimatum, or that's quite the ultimatum. And I'm like, how is that an ultimatum? It's just what I'm looking for. Like, are you looking for that? It's more so a yes or no question. It's not really like trying, to me, an ultimatum is you give somebody an ultimatum. It's like, do this or else. And for me, it's not like there's no or else. Like, it's just straight up not going to happen. It's not really an ultimatum. To me, an ultimatum is what you give to somebody that you want them to change. And like, I've done that before. So that's why I know the difference. And for me, like, telling somebody what you want is much different than an ultimatum. So if they try to say that, then just be like, okay, well, you're totally not the one then. Because the person that I'm looking for wouldn't think that that's an ultimatum. They'd be like, yes, that's what I'm looking for too. Or then the other thing I've seen a lot of is they'll say, yes, that is what I want, but then I can tell that they're still only looking for pretty much sex, like just based on how they talk. They'll be like, yes, that's what I want. Okay, when are we making out? Or, okay, when are you coming over? Like, they'll go straight to trying to get to the physical level. And to me, it's like, I think you should have some kind of base before you get physical with somebody. Just as a woman, just for, men, it's probably a little easier, but I don't know, if a man's watching this, I would just say to you, like, you have to really consider the woman's feelings and how that's going to make her feel if you immediately become physical with her and then one of you decides that it's not going to work. Like, to have that physical aspect of it, like, it's a little bit selfish to me when a guy doesn't understand that or doesn't try to understand that a woman is very emotional. Like, they don't care, at least the ones I've met. And yeah, that just is a straight up indicator that that's not a good dude, because to me, a good dude isn't going to do that to somebody. And I know plenty of guys who don't do that to me or who haven't done that to me. So the ones that do, I just want to say that's straight up disrespectful to do that to a woman. But some women are into that. They don't care. Like, this conversation, some women, I suppose, probably wouldn't like agree or wouldn't want what I want. But if you're looking for something very specific, I think a good base is to not have someone like making out with you straight away. Like, no, we're done. We're over that, girls. We're over that. If you know what you want, don't do it. Just don't. Just don't. And I told you the why. Like I said earlier, I wish somebody would have told me the why. I feel like I explained it very in depth and pretty straightforward, that it's just not, it's going to make you more emotional, feel more emotionally attached to him. And if you don't know if he's the right guy, that's going to make it even harder for you to decipher the difference. So I think what I'm looking for now is a guy that's like willing to wait for me and be ready for that when I'm ready for that. Like, when I'm ready to kiss you, you'll know. And really just getting to know a guy before that's really even something that happens. And I'm not saying it's bad if it does. Like, sometimes you're in the moment and you're like, yeah, okay, let's do this. But you've got to be at least 75% sure that you guys are on the same page. If you're not that, if you're even 74% sure, you just got to answer a couple more questions and be okay with the tough answers. Like, I've been praying lately if I'm going to go on a date with a guy, I ask God, hey, I'm going to go on this date. He seems solid from, a couple of texting, phone conversations we've had. And that is the thing. Like, sometimes you do have to get to know a guy, and you do have to go on a date with them to get to know them and what they are looking for. So I've been praying recently before I go on a date, which it's been a little bit since I've been on one, but next time I do, I'll just say, hey, God, help me see anything on this first date that's not your best for me. And it doesn't have to be super serious, but I think that you should still, like, at least know a little bit about what that person's looking for, and then kind of take it to the next step of, like, okay, I know a little bit what you want right now, but like, I need to know a little more, and just ask questions, and don't be afraid to ask them, and don't be afraid of an answer that isn't what you want. Like, if I say to a guy, okay, I'm trying to think of something that maybe isn't as big of a deal that I would ask a guy. Like, I might ask a guy, are you interested in reading the Bible? Because sometimes, when we're Christians, we believe in the Bible and what the Bible says and all of that, but to read it daily, like, that's not something that everybody does. And, like, not because they don't want to, maybe it's just something they don't think of, or they just haven't created a habit to do, because it is a habit to read the Bible every day. And if I say, hey, it's like reading the Bible, like, something you're interested in doing, like, I know you said you believe in God and Jesus and all of that, but do you, like, pray or read the Bible? And I always, like, I want them to answer that question honestly, but I also, like, I don't expect them to be like, yes, I read it every single day, but I at least want them to have an interest in that and then act on that interest down the road. That's just an example for me. And it could be something different for you. Maybe you, like, family dinners on Sunday is really important to you, but maybe they're not like a super family person, but you want him or her to come to family dinner with you on Sundays, and if they're like, oh yeah, I don't do family, like, because some guys literally just straight up won't do family stuff, or girls maybe, I don't know, but I date guys, so that's why I say guys. And if they're like dead set and they're like, no, I'm not doing that, then that's probably going to upset you down the road when you're in a relationship with them. And if you express like, hey, this is really important to me, then they shouldn't look at it as an ultimatum, or they shouldn't straight up just say no without like even coming to some kind of agreement with you. I don't know. That's just an example. You know what it is for you. I've just learned from my mistakes and from settling, and I don't want to do it anymore. And so when I go on a date, I pray and I say, God, help me hear the answer, hear what they're saying, comprehend it, and then walk away if I need to. Help me to not stay in something that isn't ever going to change. And there's not even a discussion there that it's going to change. Like one time, okay, so I'll throw this example out there. I just thought of this while I'm talking about it. I really find it important to communicate with my man during the day. I want him to text me. I want him to respond to me. I would like to talk to him on the phone a couple of times a week. You know, I want to see him once a week. So if he's not making that effort, like obviously I know you're not going to have that exact formula every single time, but I at least want somebody to compromise on that with me. So I was talking to this guy, and he would take hours to answer me back. And one day it was actually on Christmas, and he was taking forever to answer me, and I wanted to talk to him, and I wanted to like talk to him on the phone and wish him a Merry Christmas, and he was just like not answering me at all day. And first of all, that was a little bit shady to me, because he allegedly wasn't even with his family on Christmas. And I'm like, why do you not answer me? Like, I don't really get that. And he was like, Elizabeth, I'm not going to talk to you all day, every day. And I'm like, well, first of all, that's not even what I'm asking. So, second of all, the fact that you're so dead set on not answering me, like, he was literally ignoring me and then trying to say that he wasn't, but that's what he was doing, especially when he said, I'm not going to do it. It's like, okay, then you're ignoring me, and I'm not okay with that. Like, if you're truly busy, I get that, but like, if you should want to talk to that person. And I like would always, like, a lot of guys are like that. Like, a lot of guys I've talked to are like that. And for me, I guess, yeah, it's a deal breaker. And I always felt so stupid for that being a deal breaker. And like, I don't expect a guy to be at my beck and call. Like, that's just not reality. But I also want to know that I'm a priority, you know? So I didn't feel like a priority to him. And it maybe if he would have done things differently in other areas, the texting thing wouldn't have been such a big deal. But because he ignored me all day on a holiday, when you're not with family, you're at home by yourself, is what you're telling me. Like, there's a disconnect there, and to me, like, that's a red flag that either you're a liar or you just don't give a crap about me. And so that was like a telltale sign for me that, like, no, he's not the guy for me. And I'm like, if you can't even come to some kind of compromise, you're just straight up saying, that was the bigger deal to me, not that he wasn't texting me back, but he was literally like, I'm not going to talk to you all day or whatever. To me, that was like, you know that I'm bothered by the fact that you take 5, 6, 7 hours to answer me, and then you try to spin it on me and say that I'm expecting too much. Well, I'm not. Like, I just want to talk to you. Like, I'm sorry if that's a crime. Like, you know, if that's bad, then you should probably just break it off with me, or I should break it off with you. And I've always tried to make that work where they don't communicate with me much, and it's just not going to work for me. Like, I have to have somebody communicate with me, or at least make an effort to. Like I said, I don't expect you to be at my beck and call, but I want to know that I'm a priority. And if you text me back or call me on the phone or whatever, I'm probably going to feel that way, that I'm a priority. And texting is super easy, like, to me. Like, it takes 2 seconds to be like, hey, how's your day going? Mine's good. Oh, how's yours? Oh, my day's good too. Thanks for asking. What are you up to today? Like, just acting like you give a crap. And all he literally sent me on Christmas was like some kind of weird gif from some Christmas movie. And I just was like, dude, come on, that's just so lame. Like, don't be lame. Make me a priority. And it's okay to want to feel like a priority. And if you don't feel like a priority, don't let them twist it on you. Maybe they don't understand why you feel that way. They should want to understand, and they should come to some kind of compromise with you. And you should with them as well. Like, it's on you. Like, you can't be crazy. And like, I would just tell myself, oh, I'm crazy. Like, but no, it's, if I want someone to talk to me throughout the day here and there, and not go hours and hours without speaking to me, then that's just not what I'm looking for. So anyway, ladies and gents, don't settle. Let God direct you in your relationships. He will. Listen to him. You have to listen to him. You have to listen, or you're going to end up like me, where for 6 years I was just so stubborn about it and didn't want to take anybody's advice, which mostly the only person I trusted was my mom, and didn't want to take her advice, didn't want to talk to anybody else about it, didn't even want to listen to God, which is the most disturbing part of it all. And yeah, just pray about it. Let God direct you. I've been doing this live stream for an hour. Thank you so much if you've been watching. I've had a few steady viewers this whole time. That's pretty much the most steady I've ever had a live stream, so thank you. It's very kind of you. We'll do more of these. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I do talk about dating a lot. I'd like to talk about it more because I've learned so much from dating, and I want to help other people, or like at least just be able to talk about it and have other people relate to me and I relate to them, just how some of us have done in this live stream chat. Thank you, Jesse. I hope you have a great day too. Thank you to everybody else who has watched. You guys are awesome. I will see you guys when, hopefully tomorrow, I'm supposed to upload a video. As soon as the brand gives me the okay to upload this next video I've got coming, it's going to be live, and I'll see you guys then. So I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy your beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Adios.